What is up, nerds? Welcome back to episode 28 of the Pickleball Pursuit podcast. I'm your host, Lewis, with Pickleball Pursuit, here with my co-host, Justin, from Pickleball, etc. And guys, we listened. We really take a lot of y'all's feedback to heart. We're back on the regular sides that we started with.
Oh, yeah.
So, this works better for me. I just figured, you know what? New year, let's just try some different sides. But, clearly it's not working.
You gotta put me on the host side. I'm the host.
Yeah. So speaking of hostly duties, co-host, what do we got on the dock today, man? What's going on?
Well, we're gonna get in some paddle updates as always, and we're gonna get into some different gear today. So bags, some clothes, some shoes, and speaking of listening to feedback, we asked in the last podcast and got an overwhelming response about doing shoe reviews. So not saying it's going to be a permanent segment every week, but we will start mixing them in, and we are going to do a shoe review today. We're going to talk about tournament divisions and kind of how to decide which division to sign up for, maybe if you're in between or you're just signing up for your first one or something along those lines, and how that might apply to us. And we're also going to talk about some coaching that we've been getting and clearly needing. Lewis and I both been getting a little bit of coaching. And then we're going to go to NERDTOWN. At the end, we'll choo you on to NERDTOWN, and this was another input from the people. We're going to talk about something we've talked about a long time ago, back in what we called the dark days, back when Lewis's camera was all dark, and he was just red on one side. I had a shitty GoPro. It was bad. Okay,
Vampire
so we're going to revisit
days, baby.
The Vampire Den days, that's true. We're going to revisit base materials, different materials used in layups and for the basing of paddles, and kind of how that affects performance.
All right, we always say this is going to be a quick one, but I don't think this is going to be a quick one. All right, first things first, J2TI Plus. I've been playing the heck out of this, and I kind of talked about last week how I couldn't really tell if it was breaking in or not. It definitely was breaking in at that point. It's just so minimal to compare it to how the Pickleball Apes pulse lineup breaks in. So it's not like a massive change in tone, and so far there has not been a massive jump in power and whatnot, but the main difference is crazy enough, the sweet spot just gets bigger. And it feels like more plush and softer, while giving you a slight bump in both power and pop. So this is this is the pre-pro model, so we'll see how the production model, performs. But I will be playing with this primarily for the entirety of the review, and then I'll pick up the production model like the last little bit. This is probably going to be one of the next reviews, but as long as this stays where it's at, and hopefully this is what the threshold is, because if it is, Jam is overreacting, and this is a good spot to be in.
Okay, because
it's a better paddle than the J2 Ti, non-plus version.
And when you say Jam is overreacting, for those who didn't watch last week, he's referring to Jam, the owner, who had said that there would be a significant break-in, but they were prepared for that, and basically they have mechanisms in place for a refresh program or something, things along those lines. So they were prepared for a significant break-in. So you're saying that so far it feels it's not that significant.
Yes, but haven't played with the J2K Plus. And then obviously, I've probably played well over 10 hours with this. Let other people hit it as well. So don't want to say this is set in stone, this is how hot it's going to get, and it's not that hot. But so far, this is usually the point where the Pulse series is well broken in. So this is not showing the same levels of break-in. It just could just be this model. Apparently the J2K Plus is going to be hotter than the J2 Ti Plus, based on Honolulu's testing. So just wanted to give you guys an update. This is a very popular upcoming release and wanted to give you guys some insight on how it's going. But spin is ridiculous. Control is, manageable. Wouldn't say it's nearly as control oriented as the J2 Ti. Does have a definite difference in tone than the original J2 Ti, and it feels softer and plusher, which is kind of like surprising because you have like a increase in both power and pop. But makes sense because it is a floating core and it is breaking in a little bit. So all fortunately, good news. Hopefully it continues to stay that way, because if this stays like this, then I think this is going to be a huge success. So, yeah, man, you have not had a chance to hit any of these yet, but
Nope.
One day, man, one day.
Yeah.
One day. You never even... Justin said today he's never hit the J2K.
No, the J2K
That is
specifically,
crazy.
no. I've hit
That
the
is
J2,
crazy.
the J2H, the J2 Ti,
Yeah.
the J2K
Okay.
Pro, the J3K Pro, all those, but never the J2K. Funny
Gotcha.
enough.
Well, you've hit the J2 lineup at least, which is
Yeah. Well, I played significantly with the J2H for a while.
forgivable.
I just haven't
all
had
right.
a J2K, and I do know a couple people who have them, but they have way too much weight on them and stuff. So I don't want to just borrow. That's not the experience that you want.
No, you want it your way. Just like Burger King, right? Isn't that their have it your way?
Sure.
Something like
I
that.
don't
Yeah,
eat fast food.
yeah.
You're asking
Yeah,
the
me
wrong
neither.
guy.
I eat a little Chick-fil-A here and there, but that's it. All right, we're gonna get on or get our move on to a bag from.
Oh, you're already done with paddles? That was the shortest paddle
dude.
segment.
Yeah, sorry
we've
guys.
ever-
Hey, very sorry. We blew the load last episode.
There's a lot of paddles.
Yeah, we went through
No.
a lot of paddles.
So,
But-
what about if I want to touch on a couple paddles?
Fine, dude. I'll put this down. Kevin's gonna be just
We'll
chomping
get there,
at the
Kevin.
bit. Yeah.
We'll get there. So,
Kevin's a liar, by the way, and I'll tell you guys why later. Don't let me forget.
We kind
Go
of showed
ahead.
these last week.
Yeah,
I just got them last week.
Oh my
right?
god!
I got the.
Completely forgot all that. I was excited to hear your feedback on this.
Oh yeah, I only played very little.
For everybody
like-
who's listening, this is either the 11.624 Power series paddles.
Yeah, and I took them all out with me. I actually went to play with a listener. Shout out Graham, and I played actually mostly with the Pegasus because I was letting people play, and someone was playing the Hirachi, and then people were playing with the Vapor. So I played with the Vapor only one game, and the Pegasus for like 3 games, I think. So yeah, first impression, super easy to play with. The spin is really great. The feel off the face is really good. The Pegasus honestly wasn't that poppy or powerful. Like, Brand, it wasn't shocking to me at all. I didn't have any problems controlling it, and that's coming from me. The Vapor did feel a little bit more powerful, for sure. But still not a crazy amount, by the way. So,
Would you say it's?
I will say these aren't
above-
reviews. These are first impressions.
Would you
very
say it's
good,
above the power levels of a typical Gen 2 thermoform paddle?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
certainly.
so wanted to make sure everybody has a baseline of what we're comparing it to.
This is still first impressions, right? I would say that the power and pop levels are maybe PaddleTech 14.3 range, but
I think that's a good comparison.
with such a different feel, it doesn't feel like it's firing off like a shotgun like the PaddleTechs do.
No.
So it's almost a little bit sneakier, but at the same time, it's more accessible because the sweet spots are really large.
Very large.
Conversely,
especially
to
on
the
the Vapor.
PaddleTechs. Well, I mean, and the Pegasus obviously is massive sweet spot also.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's like this maybe the same levels as the PaddleTech 14.3s, but just in a more accessible manner because the larger sweet spot. But it also is a little bit sneakier because it doesn't feel like a shotgun even when you flush one. But
Yeah. No, I agree. I will say, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but when I first tested them, I was like, these aren't that powerful. Like they kind of just feel whatever. And then the more and more I played, and then compared to other paddles. And then I went and played one night when it was cold, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
damn, these things hit hard. So it was, but it's not like it's much less exponential than really any other Gen 3 paddle apart from, I guess technically this J2 Ti Plus. Very similar in that respect where it's, kind of what the power output is coming off the face, but it's a little bit less easy to, expect what is coming off. So
right. It's definitely not perfectly linear.
No. Yeah.
What it reminded me of actually, and this is kind of a under the radar paddle that I still need to give more time to, is the Body Helix Gen 3, which is the same way that actually has pretty good power. It's actually doesn't feel that poppy, but it's got pretty good power, but it's in a sneaky way.
Yeah.
Big sweet spot. More power than like a standard Gen 2, but nothing crazy. Maybe the Body Helix is slightly less powerful than the 11.624 ones, but similar-ish on the feel. Okay, next paddle, and I'll just do this as the perfect segue for you. I just got this in today. Have not played with it.
Baby.
Still plastic on the handle. This is GRUVN's new hybrid shape. So this is the LAZR 16 HD. The LAZR just means it's their build with the carbon fiber Kevlar weave. And the HD is now this shape, 16, obviously 16 millimeter. So, but this is an awesome hybrid shape. I haven't even played with it yet, but just feeling it. It's 16.2 by 7.8, so it's using full allowables. There's no taper on the sides. And the handle is just like a solid 5.5 inch handle. I wouldn't call it a long handle, but it's not a short handle either.
Is the handle longer than the Bread and Butter Invader?
Same
handle. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because it feels the same. Yeah, it feels the same. Even the length and the taper. So it feels longer than the J2s, but not long like the Neonics or anything like that. But I haven't tested anything on this. I literally just got it, but looks great. And
good looking.
The
I love that.
The shape is awesome. So
love the look of those LAZR with the orange smiley face. Far better than the red Kevlar in my personal opinion. But I know some people like the red way better.
Yeah, but I just like this shape. It's rounded, but it's still pretty square. And like I said, the handle's long enough. There's no taper. I haven't tested swing weight and twist weight, but I'd expect that, it's probably a pretty stable shape. So I bet the stats will be good. All right, so there's your perfect segue into the GRUVN bag.
GRUVN bag, man, I just realized I needed to double check and make sure I have the correct price everybody. So they sent me over 2 bags, their new Pro Tour bag as well as their small quart backpack. I haven't tested out the small quart backpack yet, so probably will, let you, but I mean, it's your typical backpack. I need to test it out just to make sure there's anything that's surprising. But anyway, the Pro Tour bag is $139. But you can save, I believe it's 10% with code PURSUIT, which is an update that I need to talk about a little bit more after this. I'm going to change all of my codes, hopefully, to code PURSUIT, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So anyway, this Pro Tour bag from GRUVN is pretty solid bag. I mean, it's large, as you can see, but not overly large. It's pretty big, as you would expect from a tour bag. But I wish I could show it all on frame, but you guys can kind of see it there. Lots of pockets. It has 2 of those thermo... What are they called? Where they're insulated? Yeah, insulated. There you go. Whoops. Nerd. They have 2 of those insulated large pockets on the side, and then on each side they also have 1 small pocket and 1 kind of medium-sized pocket to fit tons of stuff in. I've put 4 paddles on the main compartment, as you guys can see here. And then I can fit another one in this back pocket right here that's up against your back. But here's why Kevin's a liar, okay? On the description, they say that it can fit up to, I believe, let me double check and make sure this is correct. I don't want to say the wrong thing. It says up to a 10.5 shoe. A size 10 shoe, not larger. He's a liar. I wear a size 11 and fit my size 11 New Balance shoes in the shoe pocket. So
he's lying in the good way.
He's lying in a good way. Yeah.
That's good. He's being
he's being safe. Better be safe than sorry.
I saw some photos on the Discord of somebody who had 19 paddles in that bag.
Yeah, you can fit
the other stuff.
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable amount of stuff.
Yeah, like all the overgrips and everything else, and plus 19 paddles. I will never carry that many paddles, but maybe you will. But I mean, obviously, you could just tone it down and take 6 paddles, shoes, and a bunch of other things, and a lunchbox and all that. I like the size.
Yeah, the best part about it is it's not too large. There are 2 things that I would like to see, improved on it, but there's no place to there's no real good dedicated place to put like a water bottle. Like you have with the ADV bag is a good example. It kind of has that mesh, outside pocket. You just slip a water bottle in there. Not a huge water bottle, obviously, but you can easily fit it in one of those side medium pockets or one of the insulated ones. So it's not like, you can't fit a water bottle in there. There's tons of other spots you can put it. It's just nothing that's like super quick, easy access. And the top pocket right here, where you would normally put your phone, just a little bit small. I would like to see a little bit more room, but I was able to fit my iPhone 14 or something like that, and I have like a small little credit card wallet, and then my keys in there very easily. So I don't think you could probably fit your glasses in there, but there's other pockets to put it in there. So only 2 real complaints, if you will, or things that I didn't love about the bag. But to echo one more time, the fact that you can fit so much stuff in here and it's not one of those gigantic tour bags that goes from your neck to the back of your knees. Yeah. It's very impressive. So $139, you can save, I believe it's 10%. Price. Oh, very good price. Yeah, absolutely. So. Definitely one of the more reasonable priced bags for how much you can fit in there. And then the small quart backpack is $99 before code Pursuit. So, Kevin, thanks for sending those over. I'll test out the HD LAZR pretty soon. I'm actually excited about that one because that's a shape very few people are making that I've always wanted more people to make. Like the first person that made that shape, good is really
What, you mean just like a good hybrid shape?
Yeah, just a good hybrid shape that has a longer handle with no taper and is, 16.2 by 7.8.
Which the Invader is doing now.
Yeah, much. Exactly. But before that, it was the Kiwi Slice. And, that was the only hybrid shape pedal that,
Yeah, that was a great shape under the radar, too.
Yes, very much so. So, Kevin, thanks for sending over that bag. Speaking of the some other bag and merch, Selkirk actually sent me over quite a bit of apparel and their new shoes. So their new court shoes, which these actually have a 6-month outsole warranty. So as a lot of big brands have, if you wear out the outsole in 6 months, you can send them in for a replacement. So I'm not sure exactly what the warranty verbiage is, but that is pretty much what every other major shoe company who has a 6-month warranty. They also sent over their, I believe it's their Pro line of apparel. They sent me 2 pairs of shorts, 5-inch inseams, a 7-inch inseams. Which ones do you think I wore? Obviously the 5. 7 is way too long. It's like I'm wearing Jinkos. But
it's probably still above your knee.
Yeah, they sent it's well above my knee. They sent over 1 shirt and a quarter zip sweatshirt type outerwear.
Those are nice.
That was very nice. The reason why I'm not wearing any of it is because I've worn all of it already. Because it was like all nice stuff. So appreciate it, Selkirk. y'all's clothes are legit. Wish you could make your paddles all as good as the clothing that you sent me. But I'll probably test these out a little bit. They're very
I'm becoming more and
sketchery.
more of a Selkirk fan, by the way.
Yeah,
Just the
that's
past,
good, man.
Yeah, dude. The past, I don't know, 6 months.
Look,
I just
Selkirk is,
they're growing
in my
on me.
opinion,
Selkirk's
they're
growing on me.
doing, they do things the right way. They don't always make everything perfectly.
They might be a little bit
high
safe,
performant. Yeah.
right? Which makes sense for the size of their company. But
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of safe, now you have Tom Barnes coming out and taking stances that maybe aren't particularly safe. So you got to
Yeah.
respect that too. But,
Yeah. So
I'm a Selkirk fan now. I have 0 Selkirk paddles, by the way. So I have literally owned nothing from Selkirk except for a box of balls.
yeah.
So
No, I'm totally joking. Everybody knows Selkirk is the big. They sponsor more players and content creators. I'm just making a joke, man. Chill. All right. Nobody thinks you're a shill. So yeah,
I might be.
Selkirk sent over some stuff.
Selkirk.
I still want to check out that 008. Apparently, that's been getting some good feedback, which is impressive.
Here's
for a Selkirk paddle.
we'll put some conjecture out there, or speculation is a better word. All right. I don't know this for sure, but everybody loves some speculation. The speculation is that that's the only paddle, the 008, the boomstick. That's the only paddle that they paid to get UPA sponsor or approved. That's
true.
the only one.
Yeah.
That's true for sure.
Yeah, they announced that on the Masters today. They're like,
okay.
The 008's the only Selkirk paddle they can play with.
Okay. So all the Selkirk pros are playing with that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd heard that online a couple days ago, but I haven't watched any of the Masters today.
It must be decent.
That's interesting. No, I've only heard good things. I have talked to a couple people who've played with it, and it might even be 100% foam. We'll see.
What? Okay. All right. Interesting. Selkirk, welcome to 2023. Good job. I mean, 2024. Sorry. We're in 2025 now. All right. So we're going to stay on the shoe trend real quick, and we're going to talk about some of my favorite court shoes. But I'm going to let Justin lead this conversation. We're going to be talking about the New Balance CT Rallies. Justin, what we got, man?
It's the birth of a segment, okay?
The birth,
We've done a couple shoe reviews.
What should we call this segment, guys?
We don't know if it's going to stay around, which it may. You guys seem to have won it. Like, the overwhelming response was yes, and a couple people said no, but just put timestamps so I can skip it, which is totally respectable. So if it's going to stay around, we'll have to come up with a name. Well, we don't have a name yet.
We will definitely timestamp this. We do not want to make anybody have to suffer in our podcast any longer than they need to.
Because I'll ramble about shoes,
yawn
especially.
Counter.
Almost worse than paddles.
This might be a yawn counter. Yeah, dude. The first shoe review you did on here, I was like, Jesus Christ, is this guy
it was like a
gonna stop?
Childhood dream of mine. I was like, I want to be a shoe reviewer, So now I finally got a chance to play it out. Okay, all right. But
I was
here's what we're going to talk
disassociating.
about first. These are the New Balance CT Rallies, and the reason why we chose them is actually because we've both worn them extensively. This is Lewis's shoe of choice. So you've probably had 2 or 3 different pairs of these, right?
Oh God, maybe 4.
And your wife has some also.
Mm-hmm.
So
she does.
So Lewis has extensive experience. So clearly you'll love them. Mm-hmm. These are great shoes. These shoes are not for me in my foot shape, but let's go over the pros first. The cushion is like exceptional. So if you're a big guy or a heavier person, these are like some of the best shoes you should look for. This cushion is both resilient and there's quite a bit of it. This is the fresh foam here, basically this white part. And as you can see, it's pretty chunky. Obviously, you sit inside of it, so your heel's actually down here, but that's good because it kind of contains you. But since the cushion, this big slab of cushion here is so thick, it's actually pretty good for, people with high arches or people with low arches. It's going to form to your foot better than some lesser cushioned shoes. Outside of that, the upper is actually pretty flexible. Like this is mostly backed fabric, so it's pretty comfy. It has good padding in it, but there is durability where it matters. Like this, a little toe drag right here. There's a rubber toe drag guard, and this is the part of shoes that I tear through, and I didn't tear through these. So I'm a type of person who will actually tear through the uppers or the drag guard before I tear through the outsole. So another thing I want to say about this shoe in comparison to other shoes, the tongue is excellent. Like, this is a downfall of a lot of shoes. There'll be a shoe that's so good, but just has a crappy tongue and it ruins it. That's not the case here. This tongue is appropriately padded, and it's gusseted, so it's not going to twist left and right on you. It's going to stay. And it's also articulated, so it bends pretty well. If I could give it a knock, the tongue is very warm. There's only a few breathing channels, kind of like right here, and that's about it. This is a pretty warm shoe. You get some breathing through the fabric here, but overall it's fairly warm. The reason why it's not a shoe for me is mainly my foot shape. It's not really a knock on this shoe because I think this will probably fit a lot of people's shoe or a lot of people's feet. But the laces, they don't go very proximal. So they actually stop right here, whereas most shoes are probably laced down to here. Well, because of that, and in combination with a fairly wide toe box that you see, this wide toe box is great for stability. It's great for people with, medium to wide feet. But for me personally, I don't have wide feet. And with the laces only going to here, even if I crank them down, my foot will still slide. And the outsoles are incredibly grippy. They're not sliding shoes. So the combination of that is when I stop and grip hard, I'll bang my toes on the end of this shoe. So that was my main complaint personally, but I know that's a me thing. Other than that, this cushion is actually too much for me. On the heel specifically, it made my heel feel a little too high and a little too unstable for my preference. But again, I'm kind of a lighter player with a thinner foot. So that's my thing. Yeah, the traction's actually really good. Not sliding, great grip. Okay, now let's hear your take on them as the person who's been through 4 pairs.
Yeah, I've used these pretty extensively. I'll be a little bit more layman's terms, but these are very comfortable shoes, first of all. Although they're more of a durability, like heavy-duty shoe, they're relatively, like they feel relatively, forgiving in terms of, weight. They don't feel like bricks on your feet.
Oh,
I never.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I actually weighed all these shoes.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you want to know the weights?
Yeah.
Before you continue? Sorry. I meant to say this. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it plays right into what you were saying. So these in my size are 350 grams, 351 grams. So for context, I weighed a bunch of other shoes. A shoe a lot of people will know, these are Gel Res. The Gel Res are 379 grams. So that's like 30 grams heavier. And these are what most people consider like a heavier shoe. If you want to go heavy, then you go to like the FF3s, which are 401 grams. So now you're 50 grams heavier. And these are tanks. Another shoe that's up there is these. These are 395. So these are almost just as heavy as the heaviest. Meanwhile, if you go in the other direction, these are some of the lightest court shoes you can get. These are the Solution Speed FF3s from ASICS. And these only weigh 299 grams. So these are 100 grams less than this. And the CT Rallies, which we're talking about right now, splits the difference. So these are actually fairly average for court shoes.
Okay, nice.
Slightly heavier than average, just slightly.
Yeah. But with one thing that I've noticed a trend with any shoe that has a 6-month outsole warranty, usually they're pretty beefy shoes. Just because that's the nature of that shoe to hopefully, withstand the warranty and outlast the 6 months. So, as Justin said, it's kind of in the middle in terms of weight, which makes sense. That's kind of how it feels. It doesn't feel too heavy or too fatiguing. But what I really liked about these shoes the most is I do not have a tennis background. So I never learned how to slide. I never knew what sliding was. I played soccer. Everything was cuts and stops and quick movements. So these are pretty grippy shoes, as well as they are actually very they do have like a wider toe box that Justin was saying, but they're not super wide. And you can cinch down the laces really, really well and have a pretty tight, fit. My foot type is I have flat feet. And I'd probably say I have medium to narrow width feet. So really enjoy these. They are hot. In the summer, I'll have to change my shoes probably every hour and a half if I'm wearing these. And one other downfall with these is they are $150. But you pretty much can always find them on sale at like Tennis Warehouse or Tennis Express or Tennis Point. A lot of those are like the three main places to buy tennis court shoes, and you can find those on sale. So really enjoy them. Great grip on the court. They do last, fairly long for, a shoe, even though they do have the 6-month outsole warranty. I've burned through one of them.
That's important. Because not all shoes have that anymore.
Yeah.
And it does. So if you get through the rubber all the way to the foam, you send it in and get a replacement, which is, one of the ways that Lewis has had, multiple pairs getting replacements for his other ones. I didn't make through mine in 6 months because I didn't love them. But they're actually super comfortable. Like whenever I went to Dallas to the tournament, I knew I was going to be walking around all day and maybe playing a little bit. Those are the shoes I wore because I was like, I'm going to be standing for 8 hours and walking around. I was like, these are really comfortable for that. They're not my ideal playing shoes, but I figured if we were going to play, we were just going to goof off anyway. At Worlds. So, and they look cool for court shoes. Like I like this styling a little bit.
I don't know how you,
retro, but I'm into it.
That's the thing. The most tennis court shoes are pretty fugly, and these are
true.
These are just like mildly ugly, but like they kind of look cool too in some colorways. No, they're not bad. In a couple colorways, they're pretty nice. But how did you feel about the heel lockdown? Because I know that people have a huge that's like a big deal breaker with them. I felt like it was pretty good. I felt like it was fine for me.
I don't like it.
You didn't like it?
The heel's a major issue for me.
Interesting.
So, but the heel just there's a pretty significant heel counter, but look how low it is, right? And then once you get up here, it's not that. It's just... So, it's decently padded, but even with this runner's knot, I have to crank it down super tight to keep my heel in. And I think the bigger problem here is that they're so bottom heavy. This is a big old slab of pretty heavy foam. Even though they're not that heavy of a shoe, that's what makes them feel a little bit clunky. And then it doesn't flex super well, which is kind of a good thing. That's why they're so stable. But whenever you can't get the shoe to flex with your foot's going to maybe come up because this is resistant to flexing up with your heel. So I think that's actually part of the heel slippage problem. It's a foot shape thing. I have a skinny heel. I know this about myself. I pretty much use runner's knots and crank down all my shoes. So, but these are the shoes I was wearing when I hurt my Achilles. So I don't know that I'll ever wear them again, just psychologically now.
Damn, bro.
So they didn't give me great heel support.
Yeah, I have polar opposite experience with the heel. Maybe it's just my foot is, built a little differently, but felt like the heel lockdown was good. Had no slipping or, any issues with that. So, all right, let's stop boring these people with shoes and move on.
I don't think they're bored. They said yes. They said they wanted it.
Yeah.
We'll move on to and sorry, I'm gonna stop you. My bad.
Sorry.
My bad. No, you told me to ask this question. So for next week's shoe segment, I have all these Asics, which I showed, right? And I've had 2 pairs of these, 4 pairs of these, 2 pairs of these. This is what I've been wearing a lot. Would you guys prefer if we did individual review segments on these are kind of the 3 Asics flagship models, or would you prefer one kind of fatter segment that just compares them and says which one's the best for what? Because honestly, that's the questions that mostly people get. Oh, what about this one compared to the gel resolution? Or which Asics model should I get if I'm looking for this? So would you rather have one big one with all 3 flagship models or kind of break it up? Okay, that's it. Sorry, dude. Now we can go on.
No, you're good, bro. Yeah, I know I was jokingly saying we're boring, but y'all did ask for, not everybody, but some of y'all did ask for shoe reviews. So, all right, let's get to some juicy stuff, man. I'm going to swallow my pride here a little bit, and we're going to ask the viewers, and we're going to ask you a question, and then Justin and I are going to kind of, talk about our feelings about this. All right, this is going to be a feelings section. So get ready to get deep into the psychological minds of Lewis and Justin. All right, we're going to play a tournament. What is it? February 1st?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. February 1st. It is a Moneyball tournament, and they have 2 divisions, and we were going to play in the 4.49 and under, which would technically be the 4.0 division. Justin and I's duper combined are 3.5, averaged out.
Averaged, yeah.
So we also saw that there's a 3.99 and under, which would technically be the 3.5 division. I brought this up. I said, should we swallow our pride and play in the 3.99 and under, or should we play in the typical division, which is 4.0?
We just assumed we were going to play in
4.0,
we just assumed, which is the 4.49 and under. And to be even more clear, we said this, and Brian from Building Pickleball put it on blast on the internet too. But Lewis's duper is a 3.6. I'm a 3.4.
Yeah.
So
now, realistically, let's be honest here. I definitely think we play above our duper levels.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But also, the last few times we played in 4.0, not gone the best.
So yeah, we've gotten smashed in 4.0, right? And then this is, you said it, but you're not the only person who has said it. People have said to us, a lot of people actually, dude, if this is your duper, maybe you should play at your duper rating. Maybe you should play 3.5 because maybe people have said it for different reasons. People have said just, you're better than that, but play there to get your rating up. And other people have said, hey, it's a rating. Rating's a real thing. Maybe you need to swallow your ego and realize that that's your rating and play in your rating. So in case you haven't seen the last episode of Pursuit of 4.0 Gold, I won a 4.0 tournament, but my partner, it was technically a 4.0 plus tournament. If we're being real here, but my partner definitely carried me. I played my part. I did what I needed to do. I supported him like a great partner, but I did get carried. And the goal is I have to raise my duper above 4.0 and medal or win 2 more 4.0 tournaments before I can even think about playing in 4.5. So I was thinking maybe since this is a Moneyball tournament, we could play in the division down. Hopefully we do well. Oh God, hopefully.
We've never done that actually. And win this, we would win some money and get our dupers up, which are 2 very important things we need to do. And then the thought crossed my mind, what if we go play in the 3.99 division and get smashed? Or just don't do well? Yeah. That would be worse than going 0 and whatever in 4.49 and under. So
that's what I asked you. And I'll pose this question again. I said, okay, let's just play out quote unquote realistic scenarios, right? I said, what if we play in the 4.0 division, 4.5 and under, whatever you want to call it. And then we do like not great. We go like 2 and 3. Let's just say that. I said, or what if we play in this 3.5 division and we're like, all right, we do good and we get it. We are on the podium, like one of the medals. Because I think we can do that realistically. I mean, that's our skill level. And I said, which would you rather do? And Lewis said he would rather podium in 3.5 than, do average or below average in 4.0. So then I said, okay, would you rather do horrible in 4.0, like go 0 and 4 or 1 and 3 or whatever, or do horrible in 3.5 and go like middle of the pack and not get a medal in 3.5? And to that you said, I don't want to think about that. That puts me in a dark place.
Yeah, I would be devastated.
If we played 3.5 and didn't medal?
Yeah. Here's the thing. In the last tournament at Lost Pines, why is that so hard for me to say? We 100%, like I kid you not, every single game we played, we could have won. There were a couple of games that we should have won. 2 in particular. Not the first game. We should have won the second game against the dudes who were lobbing us. and we 100% should have won the game. We lost 13-11 or whatever it
when
was.
we had 2 game points and screwed them up.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. But knowing how bad we played in that and still almost won every game but the last game makes me be like, well, let's just play in the 4.49 and under. Like, we're good enough. I know we're good enough. But then the other part of me is like, Lewis, what if we go in there and there's a bunch of 4.4s or 4.45s and they're just whooping our ass?
Because it is a money ball in Houston, which is known to be a competitive place for tournaments.
Yeah, so it's a dilemma.
We haven't made a decision yet.
Yeah, you guys let us know. What should we do? Should we play in 399 and under and just, swallow our pride and probably have a reality check that we are division. 3.5s? Or should we go to the 4.0 to 4.49 division?
Yeah. Well,
how do you feel, man?
If you guys need to see some gameplay to make your decision, that's what I said. Building Pickleball. Brian, he just uploaded some gameplay of me and Lewis getting smashed. We lost. I hate to spoil it, but we lost every game on that video. So
we are good at one thing at Pickleball, and that is losing.
Losing, yeah. I fully whiffed a ball on game point. Fully whiffed. Totally missed it. Don't know.
I'm be
what
honest.
Happened.
I didn't play that bad in those games. In game 2, I did not play good. No, in
I
game
hadn't
2,
played
I didn't
for
play
3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
To be fair, I played one time the day before, and then before that, I hadn't played 3.5 weeks. So, but honestly, though, even if I played my best, Jeff's really good, Brian's really good. So I'm not trying to take anything away from them.
We're not beating them. Maybe
so
1 out of 10.
What do I think about? Do I play 3.5 or 4.0? I don't know, dude. Like I keep trying to, self-assess. Is it my ego or what? Because there's some part of me that is very resistant to ever playing 3.5 because I've never played 3.5, by the way. Every time I've ever played has always been 4.0 and above.
You're big timing. I played the 3.5 once. Lost in the quarters.
I played very few tournaments. All but one was with you.
To a bullshit line call, which
that feels bad.
Yeah, hope the dude's not watching this podcast. But it was. We got hooked.
Well, it happens. Sadly,
wasn't mad about it, but in hindsight, you get mad about it.
Also, here's the thing to consider. This is definitely true for me. I don't know if it's true for you, but it will be weirdly more pressurized and harder for me to focus if I play 3.5 because I have a bad problem of playing down when I'm playing against people who I feel like, I'm way better. And
no
so then that's
here,
the
guys.
hard time focusing. I know, right? And then, also, as you know from playing with me, whenever people hit unpredictable, dumbass shots, it's like my kryptonite. I can't stand it whenever someone just speeds up a ball from midcourt from their ankles or something. And it will catch me off guard because I'm like, that's the worst shot you could have picked. And I'll lose the point on it because I just don't expect it, And I feel like if we play 3.5, it's going to be a lot more than that, a lot more of that than if we play, up to the up to 4.49 division.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like I would play better against better players, but how much better are they actually going to be? I don't know. Dude, I don't know. Honestly, I'm torn.
It's a big dilemma. So listen, we're going to lean on you guys. Comment down below. 3.99 and under or 4.49 and under. What do you guys think? What would you rather? Would you rather see us lose in 3.99 and under, or would you rather see us lose in 4.49 and under? Maybe this isn't the tournament to enter, Justin. Oh boy, it'll be all right.
Okay,
all right. We'll move on. I'm sure everybody is going to love whatever happens with that. So, wanted to finalize my update with my, codes. I will keep my current codes with every company, running concurrently, which is usually Pursuit 10 or Pursuit 15, depending on the company. And then I will also work to get every single one that I can. There might be one, like Honolulu Pickleball Company. They do kind of different codes for different categories of their paddles. So trying to get everything to just be Pursuit. So there's no confusion. You don't have to worry which code to use for which company. Trying to make things easy for you guys. And I'm also doing a demo wall at my local indoor facility. So I wanted to make that easy for everybody as well. So going to get everything settled hopefully in the next couple of days. Honestly, it might be good by the time this podcast airs. So just want to give you guys an update. Now, Justin and I have been getting some coaching.
Because boy, do we need it.
Yeah, boy, do we need it. I wanted to give out a shout out to the owner of SpeedUp Pickleball. If you guys, I'm sure you've heard that name a couple times. We've talked about their their paddles on this podcast. They have the long, super long handled, paddles that are fully molded, very, very solid, nice handles, good paddles that perform well. Santosh, I hope I'm saying your name correct. He just played Tyson McGuffin today in mixed doubles. Yeah. Did not go too well, but, you're playing
Tyson McGuffin.
Yeah, top 10, top 15 players in the world. But Santosh, thank you so much for giving me some feedback. He gave me some really good insight on returns, and he pretty much just said, quit being a little baby on your serve and start serving hard because you're... he was like, you're tall.
Vindicated.
Just use that. Yeah. So
yeah,
your boy's been serving hard, and
good.
I sent you some videos. It's been getting me ahead in the point. So I'm gonna swallow.
Finally, guys, I know y'all remember 3-4 weeks ago when I told him this, and he was like, "No, just get it in, just lay it in." Why would you ever do that? Just lay it in. That's what you said, and that's exactly how you sounded.
Oh, shit. That's really good. Oh, just get it in. Oh, God. All right, so what have you been working on, man? What's your coach been telling you? It's like, hey, dude, just move over and let Lewis play.
Pretty much. No, I'm just kidding. But I did, speaking of that video on building pickleball, me on the right side, I'm a menace to my teammate. Because I just stand in the middle, bro. I'm just like, the center line, I'll take that with my backhand. Anyway, that's not even what we're going to talk about today. So I've been getting some online coaching. And it's if you're in the Discord, you'll know. I've been getting coached by incredible. I've been getting some incredible coaching.
Incredible.
And we've talked about a bunch of stuff, actually. He's been great. We've had a lot of longer sessions, and we're going to have some more. But this one thing I want to talk about on this podcast, which kind of it felt rewarding to hear because I would have never thought of this. I would have never noticed it. I would have never known it needed to be changed. And then he basically picked it out immediately. I've starting to try to change it, but it's a habit, of course, so it takes some time. But I already notice significant improvements. And here's what it is. It's standing with your left hand or your off hand on your hip. Like, say this is your paddle at the kitchen. I was standing all the time with my hand glued on my hip. And I know you've seen people do this, right?
Very
it kind of adds stability. Yeah, this is how I play. But here's what I realized.
That's why you're the pickleball wife, man.
Be prepared. I'm guaranteed to hit this mic stand at least once in this illustration. Okay. So actually, can I stand up?
Yeah, you can do. Dude, this is your...
Wow, we're changing the game for this podcast. Dude. Okay. All right. Look. So I would stand here like this, right? And then this is my ready stance. And here's why this is bad. Because anytime something came to my forehand, I didn't realize this before, but I've essentially locked this whole side, my shoulder, my elbow, and my hip all together, right? So now I'm like locked in. So if I want to turn my shoulders up here, it's basically all locked together, so I have to turn my whole dang body. So what ends up happening on a fast ball that comes to my forehand, obviously that's a ton of effort, so I end up just reaching with my arm and my elbow and slapping, just like that. Well, that's number one, inconsistent, number two, slower, versus if you unlock your torso, you can now unit turn. If you have your hand either here or just floating, if you watch a lot of the pros, their hands are just floating. Now I can turn my shoulders real quickly and turn back. Now the key to this is that now you're allowing yourself to use your large muscles, more your shoulders and your trunk, like as a unit turn, rather than using your small hinges, which is like your elbow and your wrist, to try to do this flappy stuff. So when you're using your small hinges, it's going to be slower, less powerful, and less consistent. And this is true for any stroke, where if you use the large mechanical devices of your body, as in your hips, your shoulders, your whole unit turn, you're going to have a lot more consistency. I can't show you guys perfectly because I'll smash my mic, but imagine if a SpeedUp, came to my forehand before I would have to just like try to slappy it, which is never going to be good, versus once I take my hand off my hip, I've unlocked my shoulders so I can turn my whole body. I knew I was going to hit it. Turn my whole body and then turn back, so to say. Not a perfect illustration, but close enough. So if you're someone who's a put your hand up on my hip person, then this is for you, okay? I was that person, and this has made a massive difference.
Oh my God, dude. This podcast is unhinged, man.
Net gains. You didn't even say at the beginning.
Shit.
This is our net gains segment.
Net gains.
Anyway, we could go into further detail, but that's the concept. I've now taken my hand off my hip, and the second thing that's helped me with is I'm trying to incorporate a 2E more. So just keeping my hand here, I'm more ready to reset or counter with two hands.
Dude.
And it unlocks my unit turn. Use your bigger muscles. Don't use your freaking flappy wrist. You actually want to limit wrist movement in pickleball overall for the most part. Something I'm learning as a trash player.
I've been developing a two-hand counter.
That's awesome. I don't have that yet, but for the first time in my life since doing this, I actually have a much faster and more powerful and compact like forehand punch counter, which I never had before. I was just like slapping shit, like this. It's just
That's
horrible.
going to be really good for you protecting down the line speed ups when you're on the right.
Yeah. I'm also getting better at my right side play. I will still step into the middle some, but I won't stay there for 100% of the time anymore, hopefully.
Hey, that's okay, man. If we're pressurizing that right side player, it's worth it. I want you to be in that middle. All right. Thank you for attending Net Gains. We're going to move on to our next segment, which is everybody's favorite. Oh, shit. I don't even have it over here. New Week, New Maine, sponsored by Bodhi Pickleball. If you are looking for edge guard,
tungsten tape,
grips, towels, and now wristbands. No, really? Dude, for whatever reason, I just lost every thought in my brain. And so sorry about that.
This is not the season for it, but the sun sleeves, I can't I love them. And as soon as it gets sunny again and we're playing outside a lot more again, I will definitely be wearing the sun sleeve.
Now look,
those are really good.
I wear the sun sleeves all the time, even indoors.
I know you're a cool guy. You wear one sun sleeve indoors.
It feels good on my arm.
I think you're like in the NBA or something.
Yeah, I am, dude. But anyway, Bodhi Pickleball is a sponsor of New Week, New Maine. If you want to save some money at checkout when purchasing any of their products and accessories, you can utilize code PURSUIT, which will save you 10%. Thank you, Bodhi, for sponsoring New Week, New Maine. So, New Week, New Maine.
Multiple colors.
Justin, what do you got, bro?
The Bodhi grips, before I reveal my main, just want to say there's multiple colors here. You see them all. This isn't all the colors, but you see all the ones that I'm using currently on these paddles. And you asked last week, and now I can confirm that they all feel the same, even the white one. So they are tacky. They're actually like a pretty balanced grip. They have a little bit of squish, a little bit of absorption, and pretty good tack. So it's kind of a do-it-all, which is nice. So yeah, thanks, Bodhi. I'm actually really enjoying the grips. And of course, look, a healthy amount of Bodhi tungsten tape on this. And here we go, boys. This is it. New Week, Old Maine.
He's back.
I'm back.
He's back, baby.
Look, okay, here's what happened. The other day, I went and played, and I was playing with the 11.624 power paddles, which I'm still going to play more with, and they're very good. And I played a few games with those, and this is the new version of the Neonic Flare Prime X with the updated grit. And I was like, hey, I'm about to pull this out because I love this paddle, and now it's got a new grit. I hadn't played with it for a while. And dude, it just felt like home for me. It is just so good. It just does everything super well. It's plenty of power, plenty of pop. It's very linear. So for me, very easier to control on defense than some of the exponential power curve paddles. And the spin was already good, but the spin of this new grit was bonkers. Like, dude, I don't even have a hard drive. And there are 2 different drives that I hit that did the classic thing where they go over the net and then under someone's paddle when they're standing there to block. And they're like, oh, and they just miss it because it goes like dips that hard. So pretty sick. So we're back to that's the
boy. Man.
Neonic
Well,
Flare
guys,
Primex. New week, old main.
He's back. New week, old main. Well, guys, it's official. Things
What is official?
are changing.
No way.
New week.
Yeah,
kidding.
right.
New week, new main. We're staying with the Invader, baby. Things are changing, and when I say things, I mean me. I am sticking with the bread and butter Invader. So, yep, this is it, man. I can't leave it. There is one paddle that is currently calling my name, but
Is it the J2 Ti Plus?
it could be.
Here's the deal. You sent me a text. I'm going to reveal this. Just raving about the J2 Ti Plus. Raving.
It's so good.
It's this. It's amazing. It's so good. It feels good. The sweet spot's huge. It feels soft. Has great power. Da-da-da-da-da. And then the very next, all that one message, and then the next message. But I'm still sticking to the Invader. And,
I'm a changed
you were
man.
just like, it just feels right, and I don't have to think about it. So
Yeah. Yep. I'm a changed man. J2 Ti Plus is definitely calling my name. However, as great of a paddle as it is, the Invader is just kind of has me, wrapped around its little finger, and I can't leave it. So I'm
It's
a married
probed
man
deep inside
to the
you?
Invader. Something like that. Oh boy. All right. Ready to move on, man?
yeah.
Ready to get nerdy?
Choo choo.
58 minutes in, bro.
Okay, this is going to be quick because this is a revisit. Okay, well, I say quick, quick for me. So we actually did talk about this in NERDTOWN back in, like I told you in the beginning, in the dark days, in the Vampire Den days. But we don't want you to go back and watch episode 3 or whatever it was because honestly, it's painful. We're not any better at podcasting now, but our lighting looks better. So just stick to this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
like
what we're going to talk about is face materials and essentially layups, which is the combination of materials that you use on a face. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through a lot of the examples I have here, and I'll tell you, what makes them different, what makes them special, why are people using them, what are the best playability characteristics. We'll start with just carbon fiber. These 11624 power paddles are just 3 layers of carbon fiber. So this is unidirectional T700 carbon fiber. And so what that means unidirectional is all the strands run up and down, and then usually the middle layer will run perpendicular, and then the back layer will run parallel again. And the reason why they offset it is to add strength in all directions while also getting the correct amount of flexibility. Raw carbon fiber is pretty proven at this point. It has not the softest feel, but not the stiffest feel, so it's kind of in the middle of the road. And it's not the harshest as far as vibration dampening goes, but it's also not the most dampened. So again, it's kind of middle of the road. So it tends to be something that people just like, and also people are used to. The peel ply surface can be applied to this just like all the other ones we're going to talk about. So this is kind of, maybe we'll say like the gold standard, but also sort of the benchmark that the other kind of surfaces compare to.
It's also important to note that carbon fiber was kind of the catalyst for the modern, paddle surface texture and performance as well.
Electrum.
So, yeah.
I think Electrum did it first, and then Carbon wasn't far after. And then, of course, a lot of brands jumped on at the same time. I may be getting a couple of those in the wrong order, but I specifically remember whenever people started playing with Electrums, and that was like, whoa, the spin is great. The feel is much better than were those like clear, kind of crappy fiberglass paddles back then.
Yeah.
So that takes us to the next thing, talking about fiberglass. now this in the Neonic Flare Prime X and in a lot of other paddles these days is a combination of carbon fiber and fiberglass. So fiberglass is not a new material, like we just said. A lot of paddles were using fiberglass years and years ago. What has been newer about it, or why it was actually picked as the best trend of 2024 in our NERDTOWN Awards, is because companies, brands started using fiberglass in a kind of smarter way. Fiberglass is actually, we've talked about this, it's really performative. It has great like rebound characteristics, and it gives good pop and power. However, it also vibrates really harshly. So it can feel really bad to your hand, can give you like that tennis elbow feeling, can just feel kind of cheap and or tingy if you don't do it right. So companies have learned how to combine fiberglass with other facing layers to sort of soften it up or dampen the feel. And it's not all the face layers, it also depends on the type of core. Like in this paddle specifically, there's a fiberglass layer here in the middle. It's sandwiched between two carbon fibers, so that kind of softens it up first off. And then this also has a 6 millimeter diameter cell size and a softer core. So that dense, soft core dampens a lot of the vibrations, kills a lot of the, harsh feeling of fiberglass. So it kind of harnesses the performance. And I know I'm talking about this paddle specifically, but the other paddles using it are doing similar things. They're using the core or the other layers or foam or whatever it may be in order to dampen the harsh vibrations while capitalizing on the performance. So that's why you're seeing more fiberglass. It's actually a good material, just needs to be used correctly.
Yep.
Okay. So let's move into Kevlar, which is like the big kind of buzz of, last year. This is what they call like a hybrid weave. This is, if you'll remember, Lewis, we talked about the warp and weft
of woven
surfaces.
I'll never forget that.
You see the lighter gray, that's the carbon fiber, and then this is actually like a navy blue, but it looks pretty dark on camera. That is Kevlar. Now, these are woven together in a twill weave, like over, under, over, under. It's a 2x2 twill. So essentially, when this strand goes this way, it goes over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2. And to talk about weaves real quick, this is specifically a 3K weave, which is the most popular kind of weave on pickleball paddles. That just means that there are 3,000 strands, so that's what 3K stands for, and each toe is like, the group of strands running either horizontally or vertically. And that's why the little squares that you see, kind of this checkerboard look, are that size. As you go up or down on the K for the weave, the size of these go up and down, which we'll see here in just a second. So biaxial 3K twill weave, carbon fiber and Kevlar. So what does that mean for playability? This still has unidirectional carbon fiber layers under this. I don't think there's a fiberglass layer in this paddle. Most of them don't have it. But in general, woven faces tend to be less reactive and more dampened. So they don't bounce back as fast, and they will dampen the vibration since they're not bouncing back as harshly after the ball goes in. So that's why whenever these woven faces, and particularly the 100% Kevlar ones came out, like the Ruby, and everyone's comparing the Ruby to, the Double Black Diamond, which is the same paddle and carbon fiber, the Ruby had more of a muted feel. So this isn't the Ruby, but this is a 100% Kevlar face. You can't really tell. Same 3K weave. Now this time it doesn't have carbon fiber. This is a softer and more dampened feel. That's just because the Kevlar strands are not as coarse. They're more like a fabric, whereas the carbon fiber strands almost are like wire. Like you'll get splinters off of them. So that's Kevlar. A little bit softer, a little bit more dampened feel. Honestly, in context, the performance of a woven Kevlar or a woven carbon fiber or a hybrid of both isn't that different, to be fair. It's just a bit of a different feel at ball contact. Okay, now we go into some, this will be quick, we'll go into some kind of more boutique weaves. This is the shapeshifter from Chorus. Remember how I said as the K number goes up, the squares go up? Well, this is an 18K. That means there's 18,000 threads. This is carbon fiber, and this is what's called a triaxial weave. Previously, we had a biaxial, meaning two directions, like, they would weave this way. Triaxial now means 1, 2, 3 different directions, and that what kind of gives the cuboids here. The larger the K number here, the softer it's going to feel. The more dampened it's going to feel, the less rebound it's going to have. So in this paddle specifically, that's why Matt at Chorus put a fiberglass layer deep underneath this. He was one of the first to figure this out, and props to him because they work in concert. The top layer of 18K here is going to give you a softer, dampened feel, but the deep layer of fiberglass is going to activate a little bit more on larger shots and give you more rebound. And even though it has more harsh vibrations on the fiberglass, that's canceled out sort of by the softer feel of the 18K. Just a quick mention to the 24/7 Athletic Mystic. This is carbon fiber and Kevlar.
Glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I want to play with this one.
Talk about this one. Haven't played with it yet, but
yeah, same. But I know just from bouncing a ball on it. See, this is a more specific kind of interesting weave here. But when you have these larger weaves, it's going to be usually a softer, more dampened feel, which is what I've heard about this paddle, and just from bouncing it, I'm pretty sure it's a more dampened, less poppy feel. Okay, so that leads us to our favorite, titanium or polyester, which this is the Envy Catalyst. This is another paddle that I need to play with. This one's releasing very soon. This is another one of those good hybrid shapes we talked about. Look, no taper, decent handle. And you can't see too well, but this has the green titanium threads. Now, what the polyester weave is just a 3K woven carbon fiber, just like we talked about 3K weave earlier. But it's only carbon fiber, and then these shiny strands you see are the polyester woven into it. And it kind of does a couple things. So adding that polyester strand, it's a softer strand, first off, than carbon fiber because it's a fabric. So it adds a little bit of softness. That's what that plush feel is. It dampens some vibrations. But more importantly is that when you have these really coarse strands in a toe and they're packed super tightly, like carbon fiber, and then they're woven incredibly tightly, there is, even on a microscope, very little room in between all of these toes in the weave. Now, introduce a larger, thicker, softer fabric along with each of these toes, both horizontally and vertically. And essentially what you've kind of added is a bit of a spacer. So now the weave is ostensibly looser in a way. And that, I think, is what really contributes to the softer, dampened feel of these titanium PET faces, is that because the polyester strands are kind of acting like spacers, and it makes the weave a little bit looser. And the reason why I say this is because you can actually buy this carbon fiber woven in what's called a flat weave. It's pretty much a non-crimped weave. If they pull it super tight, it kind of crimps as it goes over. It'll go this way and then crimp back and then go under. But you can get a flat weave where they weave it looser, and it has more of a gradual turn. And when you get those flat weaves, they actually feel super soft and dampened, actually too much so. But maybe this polyester is kind of the midway point, using the polyester strands to act as a bit of a spacer. Not to mention they look pretty cool. And obviously you can do them in a lot of different colors. Here's another one. See, these are 3 paddles I have that I need to put more time into. The Envy Catalyst, this ISO Ryu, and the 247 Athletic Mystic. Okay.
All right.
Any questions?
Yeah, nerd. All right, I want to hear your favorite face layup.
Ooh. I actually like fiberglass because I don't mind the vibrations. I've never been someone who struggled with tennis elbow. I'd like a crisp feeling paddle. I would almost rather the softness come from the core and a crisp feel on the face. So, as evidenced by my main, the Neonic Flare Prime X has a crisper face with the fiberglass in it, but like a softer feeling core.
Yeah.
However, things that accomplish kind of the same thing, like the Invader, has fiberglass, but then it has the PET to soften it up. I like that as well. And, same can be said for the face layer that Chorus is using on the Shapeshifter. So my favorite, I guess, and this is a non-answer, is what I do, is some kind of layup that really spotlights fiberglass, but also tames it. So you need to, tone it down a little, but also let's get the performance out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say that mine is most likely the titanium top layer, and then having fiberglass somewhere in that second, third, or in the Invaders
probably deeper
case,
because you like a little plusher.
Fourth. Yeah, I don't mind a little feedback though. But the titanium is the most, I guess, the antithesis of, or the most opposite of
Look
the
at you. You could have stayed with
fiberglass.
antithesis. It was right.
Honestly, I panicked and thought that was wrong.
Oh, dude, you almost full nerded.
Yeah, but so obviously
That's anathema. There you go.
Whatever that word is. The titanium is soft and has very little vibration, whereas the fiberglass is also soft, but it has lots of vibration and produces extra power and pop. So I like having those two combinations. I'm a little less, I'm a little more, lenient to what the face material is, but so far that has been my favorite.
Right on.
Try to give a little non-answer there too.
Yeah. And shout out to the Discord because I asked them. I said,
yeah, thank you guys.
I need a NERDTOWN topic.
Yeah.
Somebody, and actually like 3 different people kind of said this in a different way, and then people were sort of upvoting and reacting to it. So time for a revisit. And if you guys have any other NERDTOWN topics, please always comment them. I read all the comments because, dude, it's hard. It's hard to come up with something new every week.
Yeah.
I will say I already have some stuff coming up. We're going to talk about handles because it's my soapbox and it's about time that I rant. And we're going to talk about fully molded handles. I'm going to show some examples of different types of handles, and we'll try to continue to pressure brands into making good handles in 2025.
Make good handles. It's that easy. Also, stop putting tapers on your paddles.
Yeah.
All right. Also, use the full allotted width and length. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
That's Lewis's soapbox.
Good God. Just please. It's so easy. Anyway.
Agree.
All right, guys. Justin, you got anything else, man?
Probably, knowing me, but
Yeah. All right. Well, then shut your.
save it.
Shut your mouth. All right. This is the Pickleball Pursuit podcast. I am your host, Lewis, here with my co-host Justin from Pickleball, etc. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you have any questions, any comments, any topics you guys want us to cover, feel free to put those in the comment section below. Don't forget to tell us if we should swallow our pride and play in 3-5, or continue to be egotistical lunatics and go play in 4-up. Peace out, guys. We'll see you next time.